Good morning. I am Bob Hardy. Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek service today. Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Diane Hardy. Welcome to our service. I want to introduce you to our production crew with us this morning in the sanctuary. It includes Dave Paulson on switch, supported by John Nichols and Gus Chikala. Sherry Dyer is behind the camera, and our production manager is Annie Love Villiers.
As we pause and focus on prayer and meditation, today's daily word reminds us, just as the light of the sun illumines the sky, the light of God illumines our minds, brightens our souls, and warms our hearts. The light of God is always shining within all peoples, no matter the challenges with wildfires, with smoky air, or with the activity of passion and justice in our streets. Let's hold a heartfelt prayer of protection, grace, and peace for all peoples as we breathe the fresh breath of spiritual life within us.
We have a guest speaker today from Kansas City, Missouri, this morning who will inspire us with her message and guide us in meditation.
We will be welcoming Reverend Sandra Campbell, who serves as an associate minister at Unity Temple on the Plaza. Sandra completed her ministerial training through a Unity Urban Ministerial School and was licensed and ordained by Unity Worldwide Ministries in 2013. She is the vice president of the Unity Urban Ministerial School and is a member of the faculty. She has taught various Unity courses, including metaphysical interpretation of Christian scriptures, spiritual economics, and many more.
I'm looking forward to the message that she has for us today. We're also pleased to welcome John Shin and Chris Johnson of the group 360s to open our service. Additional music will be performed later by Ronnie Ong and Ed Salvador. But now, let's open our service and begin by joining John and Chris together with This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Through the COVID craze, I'm gonna let it shine. Through the smoke and haze, I'm gonna let it shine. Through the cobweb maze, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Shine it all around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it all around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine it all around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's all connect with our own inner light as we get settled and ground in unity. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living, grounding us together with our shared intentions. Our vision for the world is, we envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness. Our mission is who we have come here to be. Let's say this together. We are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. Our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom.
If you are with us for the first time, welcome. You are invited to fill out a connection card. Connection cards are available to everyone on the Watch Live page. You may also submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week. You can share feedback and request more information. Now, let's go to the home of the Snortum Phelps and see what's new at Unity this week.
Good morning, everyone. I am Zoe Snortum Phelps. All of our classes and events are currently held online and by phone via Zoom. Here are a few important announcements and exciting opportunities. Unity's World Day of Prayer is September 10th at 7 p.m. Join us in prayer and inspiration for our world and our individual lives. This year's theme is Standing in Truth, I Move from Fear to Faith. We invite you to join us as we unite hearts and minds to affirm the power to see life through spiritual eyes and to walk in faith. Join us on Zoom or watch our broadcast live from a link on our website. You are also invited to join thousands worldwide in Unity Village's opening ceremony and 24-hour prayer vigil on September 9th to 10th. For event and live stream information, visit worlddayofprayer.org. Unity's Board of Trustees invites you to our community gathering on Sunday, September 13th at 1:30 p.m. Board officers will update you on our finances, our budget processes, our faculty repairs, facility repairs, results from our reopening survey, changes to our bylaws, and preparations for our annual meeting. Your board wants to explore what's next and hear what's on your heart. So please come share your feedback, ideas, and questions. Delve into your unexplored spiritual depths by examining the insights in Eric Butterworth's classic book, Discover the Power Within You. In this class, you'll discuss with others what the book says about how to pray, how to find confidence, and how to find healing, and more. This 6-week class starts on Monday, September 14th at 7 p.m. Pre-registration is required, so please see our website for more information and on how to register. We are excited to announce that Reverend Sandra Campbell is offering us an empowering workshop called Courageous Conversations. Reverend Sandra has created a special message about the workshop. Let's watch.
Many years ago,
Good morning, everyone. I am Zoe Snortum Phelps. All of our classes and events are currently held online and by phone via Zoom. Here are a few important announcements and exciting opportunities. Unity's World Day of Prayer is September 10th at 7 p.m.
Got it. You know, it happens to the best of us. We want to hear more about Reverend Sandra Campbell's workshop, Courageous Conversations, and we'll give you more information about that after the service. In the meantime, let us just thank Zoe for all of those announcements, and you can always go to our homepage for the exciting news about what's going on here at Unity. If you're not receiving our weekly e-news, use the connection card link on the Watch Live page to sign up and stay informed. Following our service today, we invite you to log on to Zoom around 12:45 for our virtual patio conversation. Prayer chaplains are also available to pray with you in a private space during that time.
Now, as we prepare for our message, let's ground with our statement of faith. Let's take a deep breath together, settling into our hearts, and let's take one more deep breath to center. And please join me. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the all-loving goodness of God.
Thank you, Bob. Reverend Sandra comes to us from Unity Temple on the Plaza, where Reverend Bob and I had the opportunity to travel back when we went to Unity Village there in Kansas City, Missouri. It was incredible to follow in the footsteps of our Unity founders there. Reverend Sandra's message will be followed by meditation, but first, let's join Ronnie Ong and Ed Salvador with an original song titled First Light.
Daylight is breaking, here comes the morning sun. Let go of the night, a new day has begun. Whatever it brings, whatever comes in sight, I'm glad that you.
Hello, everyone. It is my honor to be here today.
Daylight is breaking, here comes the morning sun. Let go of the night, a new day has begun. Whatever it brings, whatever comes in sight, I'm glad that you're by my side. Let's look ahead as far as we can see. Chart a new course when some things aren't meant to be. The days seem to flow together much too fast. Let's live in the moment, make it last. We're all just travelers on this road of mystery and wonder, unfamiliar with what lies ahead. We could look to the stars above to see where they will lead. So take a deep breath, take one more step. We're all just travelers on this road of mystery and wonder, unfamiliar with what lies ahead. We could look to the stars above to see where they will lead. So take a deep breath, take one more step. Over the trees glows the last light of day.
Hello, everyone. It is my honor to be here today. I am certainly grateful to Reverend Kristen for having the faith in me that I can bring this lesson to you. Hopefully something that I say today will resonate. I want to remind you that this is about connection and not perfection. Thank God for your amazing team of audiovisual and technical experts who make this happen, because I am a digital immigrant, not a digital native. So I start with my prayer. Lord, fill my mouth with worthwhile stuff and nudge me when I've said enough. Now, I say that little prayer because I learned in seminary and in Toastmasters that the most important thing a speaker can do is make sure that their beginning and their ending are really close together, so that we don't lose anybody, you don't fall asleep, you don't tune in and out, or you don't feel like you're in a hostage-taking situation. I always like to start with something funny just to get you excited and interested in what the rest of the story is going to be. The teacher decided to pay little Johnny's parents a visit. When she knocked, Johnny opened the door. She said, "Hello, Mr. Morton. Are your mother and father in?" He says, "No, ma'am. They was in, but they is out now." She says, "Mr. Morton, it's they were in, but they are out now. Where is your grammar?" He says, "She's upstairs taking a nap." I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed telling it. But I just wanted to get us started, give you something to chuckle about, and make you want to hear the rest of what I have to say. Today I want to talk to you about a new thing. I'm sure you've had some opportunities to experience some new things, like a recording of a sermon and not being able to be live in church on a regular basis, having to wear a mask, being concerned about your health and safety, maintaining social distance, not being able to go to the places as often as you like or even at all. This is a new thing that we're experiencing, a new day. I always like to include a couple of stories to illustrate the lesson. And this story that I've chosen from the Old Testament, from the book of 2 Kings, the 4th chapter, the 1st through the 7th verse, is about the widow and the jar of oil. You may have heard this story before. I'll read it to you. Now the wife of the son of the men who tell what will happen in the future cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, is dead. You know that your servant honored the Lord, but the man to whom he owed money has come to take my 2 children to make them serve him in order to repay my husband's debt." Elisha said to her, "What can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house?" To which she said, "I have nothing in the house except a jar of oil." Then he said, "Go around and get jars from all of your neighbors. Get empty jars, many of them. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour the oil into the empty jars. And then as you fill each jar, set it aside." So she went from him and shut the door behind her and her sons. They took the jars to her and she poured. When the jars were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another jar." And he said to her, "There is not one jar left." Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, and he said, "Go and sell the oil and pay what you owe. You and your sons can live on the rest." So how does this relate to this story that I started off with from the book of Isaiah, Isaiah representing spiritual understanding? Well, the story has to do with a spiritual aspect of our trust, our faith, our understanding, and our imagination. In this story, the man of God, Elisha, is a king. And according to Charles Fillmore in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, Elisha represents the I am, the spiritual I am. our spiritual understanding, much like Isaiah. The widow in the story represents one who has lost sight of God as support and supply. The vessels, or the jars, represent our capacity to comprehend perfection through thoughts of love, our ability to measure life, love, and truth. And the oil represents thought of love poured onto everything, making it holy or a perfect whole, the fulfillment of the law. And if you remember stories from the New Testament, you probably remember Jesus telling the disciples, "Love one another as I have loved you." And you may remember Jesus having to convince others that he did not come to overtake, to destroy the laws and the prophets of old, but to fulfill them with one law, and that law being the commandment that we love one another. Love your neighbors as yourselves. That's the true commandment. So in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, we read all of these definitions. We find out where the word or name originated from, what the literal context is, and then the beyond the physical context, the practical meaning, and how it relates to us. Charles Fillmore also wrote a book called The 12 Powers of Man. And each power represents a faculty in our own mind, and also correlates to a part of our body, and a disciple, one of the 12. In this case, I'm talking about the power of imagination. The power of imagination is represented by the disciple Nathaniel. And the power of imagination is located in the third eye. That's the space between your eyebrows, above the bridge of your nose. That's the space where your mental capacity to image things is found. Many wisdom traditions recognize this power of imagination in the third eye. In the Hindu culture, you may have seen people wearing a dot in the middle of their forehead, or it might be a jewel representing the third eye. In yoga, it's the third eye chakra, the ability to imagine what we want to achieve. We also find in the Egyptian culture some 6,000 years ago, the eye of Ra, Ra meaning the sun. And the Egyptians believed that God, we use our imagination constantly, sometimes for good, and sometimes even subconsciously, we are collecting ideas and mental images that we may not be aware of that impress themselves on our subconscious. Sometimes we create things in our thoughts that we don't necessarily want in our lives because we don't pay attention to our imagination faculty, which is very powerful. We say in Unity, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. In other words, whatever you imagine in your mind, you can achieve. So how does this power of imagination work? Our most repeated thoughts tend to come true. Repeated thoughts affect the subconscious mind, and the subconscious controls our habits, our desires, our actions, and our reactions. Thoughts attract corresponding circumstances. Thoughts are things, and the thinking process is a creative process. This is how we co-create with God. In Unity, we believe in the principle that we are co-creators with God, and that we create our own reality through the thoughts we think and the beliefs we hold on to. I have a couple of personal stories I'd like to share about this power of imagination when you use it in the right way, intentionally. When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. I had only heard the C word a couple of times in my life. Most of the time, the 2 times I knew were elderly people who I didn't know, and I heard about it. I had no idea what that really was until I experienced it. Now mine was stage 1, so I had surgery and I didn't have to have chemotherapy or any other treatment. But what I did have is a change of mind, a change of heart from that experience. I began to examine myself and my life, to look back over my life and think about the things that I had accomplished, the people who had helped me, and the things that I had left undone that I still wanted to do. One of those things was to complete my college education. I had taken a few courses here and there, but that's about it. I had a full-time job, a husband in the military, and we had 2 small children. We didn't have a lot of extra money, so this wasn't really a good time financially to consider going back to school. but I was more determined than ever, and my imagination went to work. I created this idea in my mind of me graduating with honors. I saw myself pictured in full color in a cap and gown with gold honor cords and a gold stole that said Phi Theta Kappa. I enrolled without any idea of how I would pay tuition, and I was told that I could show up for class and they would call the roll from the computer and ask any names they didn't call to say them out loud, and after 2 weeks, if I wasn't in the system, I would be dropped. But I kept my faith intact. I had been in Unity a few years by then, and I had understood this power, this faculty of imagination and faith. So I approached my boss about approving me for the tuition assistance program. He agreed he would sign the document for me, the application, but assured me that I had put down for 12 hours, that program was designed to only pay for 3 credit hours, 1 class. But I was in an accelerated program with the local community college for adults. It was a program for working adults to get their education quicker, and of course considering some of your work history as well, your work accomplishments and your life accomplishments. So I already had this vision in my head. I got to class, and that next day, of course I didn't have tuition, but the next day I got a call from personnel that they had my paperwork ready. To my surprise, they had approved all 12 hours, plus money for books and mileage. My supervisor couldn't believe it. He wanted me to take the paperwork back and let them know there had been a mistake. He said they were going to take that out of my paycheck, but that never happened. I enrolled in school, and 2.5 years later, I walked across that stage looking just like the mental picture I had imagined 2.5 years before. Before I ever took the first step to enroll in school, I already knew what the outcome would be because of the power of my imagination. I figured if I did it one time, I could do it again. So I enrolled in the university to get a bachelor's degree. Of course, I forgot to mention, when I graduated from the junior college, I graduated cum laude. And so 2 years later, I graduated from the university with a bachelor's degree. And I had already painted a picture in my mind of what I would look like before I ever took the first class at that university. And sure enough, I graduated magna cum laude. So I thought, third time's the charm. I enrolled in a master's degree program. And in 18 months, I walked across that stage looking exactly like I thought I would look when it was in my imagination. I graduated with honors, summa cum laude, with my master's degree. Now, I'm not telling you this to brag or to make you think I'm someone special. I'm not a genius. I'm no smarter than the next person. But when you have determination, faith, and imagination, just like the woman with the jar of oil, anything is possible. The same thing happened again when I set my sights on becoming a Unity minister. I'd been in Unity for a long time, starting at the age of 21. And I would sit in the congregation and hang on every word. And I would think about some of the things in my life that were challenges, that I could turn my mess into a message, my test into a testimony, that I could be the light that I wanted to see in the world and help people. I've always wanted to do that. But working a full-time job with children and a military family was difficult to achieve that dream. I would take a week out of my vacation every year and study at Unity Village. Little did I know, this imagination I had in my mind to become a minister was also being imagined by my minister, Duke Tufty. He had already seen me as a minister, sharing that platform with him someday, and I had no idea. Same is true for Reverend Pat Williamson, who also was our associate minister at the time, who told me he had that vision years later, after I'd completed my goal. Lo and behold, many of my credits expired before I'd even gotten close enough to consider being accepted on the ordination path. And then Unity Urban Ministerial School started the online program a few years before I decided to retire. In 2008, I was the first student enrolled in that program. And in 2012, 2 months after I retired from a 42-year federal career, I graduated from Unity Urban Ministerial School. And then 2013, I was ordained by Unity Worldwide Ministries. Today, I'm the executive director of Unity Urban Ministerial School, and I stand on the platform most Sundays when we're not social distancing, not on lockdown, with my mentor, Reverend Duke Tufty, who had faith in me and an imagination that I would someday be his cohort in ministry, and I am truly grateful for that. You see, when you have the power of imagination and you know how to use that faculty, nothing can be impossible. Nothing. If that is yours to do, you will do it. Henry David Thoreau talked about this power of imagination in these words. He said, "There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. We can form things by our thoughts, and by impressing our thoughts upon formless substance, cause the thing we think about to be created." What is he saying? A new thing can be created out of your imagination. What you think about, you bring about. We know of some amazing people in history who've used the powers of their imagination to do some outlandishly astounding things, like Walt Disney. I'm sure you've heard that name before. You probably heard about the little mouse that he befriended and named Mickey. That was the start of a wonderful and amazing venture. Later on, it became Disneyland and Disney World. And it's just amazing how this man, who was a cartoonist for the Kansas City Star newspaper, evolved from a simple dream into a reality that has touched millions and millions of lives for years and years. He called himself an Imagineer. Imagine that. There are others who have used this power of imagination to achieve their dreams. People like Oprah Winfrey and Denzel Washington. I heard a story about Denzel Washington. He was sharing about how he became an actor. His mother had a beauty shop, and he was there one day, and many of the patrons had known him since he was a little boy. And there was a woman under the dryer, and she says, "Come quick, somebody give me a pencil and paper." Now at the time, Denzel was going through medical school, and he was failing badly. In fact, he was dropping out, and he did not know what his future was going to be like, and he didn't want to waste any more of his parents' money, and he was really kind of distraught, as young people are when they can't find their way, and they're still young and immature. He couldn't figure out what he wanted to do. This woman scribbled down on a piece of paper, "You will speak before millions." Denzel Washington kept that piece of paper, and he pulled it out every now and then. Someone encouraged him to enroll in acting classes, and the rest, as you know, is history. All because of imagination. Imagination forms a mental image of something that is not perceived through our five senses. And because it's imagination, some people will say, "Oh, you don't believe in such things. There's no such thing as that." Trust me, from my own experience and others, and the woman with the jar of oil, imagination is powerful. According to Psychology Today, it is a natural tendency for human beings to resist change. Opening our minds to a new thing or a new way of thinking can seem scary because it's unfamiliar. I was watching one of the sermons by Reverend Kristen recently, and one of the members said that she didn't want to attend a class or talk about racism or systemic racism or any of those things. She was tired of hearing about it. Reverend Kristen shared a story of Joshua and the whale, and she talked about his resistance to change and how, he was even spit out of the whale and thrown overboard from a boat. All kinds of things happened because he was resisting that Spirit of God in him that was calling to him. And he made such a crooked path to get there, but eventually he ended up where he was supposed to be. This particular congregant also went ahead with it, stepped out on faith and continued even though it was uncomfortable. And she was grateful that she continued to study and to learn and to stick with it, even though what she was hearing didn't make her feel comfortable at all. Sometimes testing ourselves to move beyond our comfort zones is the best way to get that imagination going, those creative juices flowing. So this Psychology Today article says, according to studies, there are proven reasons that trying new things makes life better. It says trying something new strengthens your courage and opens the door to new opportunities. Trying something new keeps you from being bored. Trying something new forces you to grow. Trying something new challenges old beliefs and old paradigms. Alex Blackwell, another writer, says, if you keep doing things the same way you've always done them, you will easily fall into a rut. Perhaps that's some of what's going on right now during this COVID pandemic. when every day seems like Groundhog's Day. We wake up to the same routine, the same old, and some of us may feel like we're in a rut. It may take a little extra effort and your imagination, but you can get out of that rut. Alex Blackwell says, satisfying your thirst for something different reaps great rewards. It increases self-confidence. You might surprise yourself when you realize the potential that you've had all along. That's what happened to me when I finished that education and became a Unity minister. It helps you appreciate yourself more. A new look, a new hobby, a new motto, learning to use technology will help you appreciate what you're made of, and you're made of good stuff. It helps you to break out of a rut. Don't be afraid of failing. With practice and persistence, you will succeed. You will gain a new skill, a new hobby to add to your repertoire. He says, trying new things helps you see the value all around you. Sometimes we just need a little bit of perspective to appreciate what we already have. Time with family, friendships, getting to know new people. Speaking of which, one of my neighbors decided to try something really new. She stepped out on faith and way out of her comfort zone and rang my doorbell one day. We'd never met. I don't believe we'd ever seen each other. But she knew something about us. She knew that we were the black family living on the corner. She's the white family living around the horseshoe. She had been praying about what should she do, what is hers to do, with all of the tension in our society, the protest marches all over the world shortly after the killing of George Floyd. She wanted to know what could she do to make a difference. And through spirit, she heard a voice telling her to go meet your neighbor around the corner, take some cookies, and make a friend. She brought a plate of cookies, and when I opened the door, she was kind of nervous about what my reaction might be. Would I think that she was some kind of salesperson going door to door trying to convince me to buy something that I didn't want? Or maybe someone trying to convert my religious beliefs? She was apprehensive, but she did it anyway. She was so surprised. What she said she saw was this big smile on my face and a welcoming gesture. She handed me the plate of cookies, and she told me that her name is Jane, and she said she lives around the corner, and she'd love to walk sometime if I would like to. Well, I'd been living on Someday I'll. Someday I'll get out and get some exercise. Someday I'll walk some of these beautiful walking trails that are in my neighborhood. But I was not doing it, and it was getting crowded on Someday I'll. So Jane came around the perfect time for me, and she offered me the opportunity to be a walking buddy. When I brought the cookies in the house and opened the Ziploc bag, there was a note on top of it. And in that she explained why she had gotten this idea through spirit, through prayer, and through meditation, to meet a new friend, a neighbor. And she called herself Kitchens for Kindness. And she quoted 1 Corinthians 13, love is kind. She did not know that she was ringing the bell of a neighbor who happens to be a minister. She didn't know that she was ringing the bell of a neighbor who has been someday isling about meeting her neighbors too. And she came at the right time. Jane and I have been walking buddies. We walk almost every day. She has shown me places right around my neighborhood that I never would have noticed. And we have an amazing time. Sometimes we walk 4 miles, and by the time we get back home, I feel as if we've just started. We talk the whole time. I'm never out of breath, and I always learn something new. Jane says the same thing. We keep in touch through text when we're not walking, and she's even come over to my house and played bingo with my 100-year-old mother, whom she adores. After meeting me, she got to meet the family. So Oprah says that we create the highest and grandest vision for our life because we become what we believe. Now here is a guru, a master of becoming what you believe. Henry David Thoreau said, the world is but a canvas to the imagination. What kind of pictures are you painting? Perhaps you need to wipe your canvas clean and start over and let your imagination do the work. Lauren Bacall says imagination is the highest kite that you can fly. Maya Angelou said, this is a wonderful day. I've never seen this one before. She's saying it's a new thing. If we would just open our eyes to see it, the whole world would take on a whole different perspective. It's all about the mind first. We can create the world that we want, a world that works for all. Jesus said it this way, whatsoever things you ask for when you pray, Believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. In her book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, Florence Scovel Shinn wrote, "The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. What you think about, you bring about. And as we say in Unity, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind." My friend Reverend Wendy Craig Purcell has published a book based on her gratitude list that she'd been keeping for years in a journal. The book is called Just for Today. You can get it from Unity. Just for today, she writes, "I recognize and celebrate the changes in my life. Consciously chosen or not, they are doorways into something new and good." Recently, I spoke at Unity of Vancouver, British Columbia, and one of the musicians wrote a song to complement my talk. My talk was titled, "Let Your Light Shine." And I loved that song so much that I wrote down some of the words that really captured me. They fit perfectly into this lesson today. Tom Arnson writes, "I cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do." What's that saying? There is a new thing that you can do. And doing a new thing, you can be a catalyst for change in this world. During this pandemic, we are experiencing many new things. As I mentioned before, we're social distancing. We're trying to be safe. We're trying to make sure everyone around us is safe. We're wearing masks. We're not going to the usual places that we used to go to, even church on a regular basis. We don't get to hug and kiss our loved ones like we used to. How well we adapt is all about attitude. You can look at it as the most terrible thing that could ever happen in your life, or you can look for the newness in this experience. We may long for things to be back the way they used to be, the good old days, like 6 months ago. We can go kicking and screaming and complaining every single day that we repeat the same thing over and over. Or we can change our attitudes and see the good in every opportunity. In the words of Maya Angelou again, she said, "If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude about it." Attitude is everything, especially when it comes to imagination. Changing one's attitude about something new that you don't like or agree with can make the difference between whether your life is heaven or whether your life is hell. We create our own experiences by the thoughts we hold on to. As someone has said, it's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. Look for a new thing. Unity's second principle, as I said before, is we are co-creators with God. And in that process, through the power of imagination, we can reinvent ourselves and our world, thought by thought. There have been many songs written about this power. The Beatles wrote Imagine. Imagine all the people living life as one. Gladys Knight and the Pips sang, "I've got to use my imagination to think of good reasons to keep on keeping on. I've got to make the best of a bad situation." Well, she's saying, let's look for a new thing. Poems have been written about it, like my favorite by William Arthur Ward. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can become it. And Unity minister Eric Butterworth wrote a slogan that relates to this power of imagination. Conceive it and believe it, and you will achieve it. C plus B equals A. By changing our attitude, we can see a way out of the wilderness and streams in the desert. We have the power to turn something seemingly impossible and totally uncomfortable, like this pandemic, to something unbelievably good. We can imagine what we want and bring it into existence, just like the story in 2 Kings and the widow and the jar of oil. What you think about, you bring about. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I invite you to take this idea into your consciousness as we begin our journey into meditation. It's amazing that when I recorded this message, the daily word for the day is renew. My renewal brightens my world. It never ceases to amaze me that when I put my imagination to work, all kinds of ideas start coming to me, songs, and even daily words. This one is a perfect conclusion for this lesson. Taking time to rest and recharge is an essential part of my spiritual practice. I may believe it would take a week-long vacation for me to feel well rested, or that I would need to redecorate my home in order to feel a sense of newness in my surroundings. When I choose to view my world through the eyes of the Christ presence within me, everything is changed just as it is. This daily word hits the nail on the head. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. Join me as we take this idea and the power of our imagination into meditation. Namaste.
All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. Deep within me, all is well. All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. Deep within me, all is well. Deep within me, all is well.
I invite you now to find that comfortable position wherever you are, keeping your back straight, following the flow of your breath. Relax your face muscles. Relax your jaw, your forehead. Feel your body sink deeply into that place of peace, and allow your mind to follow. Open your heart space and allow thoughts to just come and go, not focusing your attention on any thought in particular, but not resisting them. Just allow them to flow with each breath. As you focus your attention more deeply on each breath, you're able to stay focused in this time of quiet and communion with Spirit. Continue to breathe normally and take these words from the book of Psalm, the 46th chapter, the 10th verse, as your own. Be still and know that I am God. Being still and knowing I am one with God, I am strong and steady. Nothing can disturb me. No trouble can break me. I know that my nature is spiritual strength, and by my word, I can calm any storm. Settling deeper into prayer, I open to the light of wisdom. Illuminating my mind, I am filled with divine light. And I know that light shines upon the path ahead of me, each step revealing the next. I see, I realize, I know. I open my mind and my heart to listen from that inner voice to this new thing that is waiting to be birthed through me. This new thing that now springs up, that I perceive in my mind's eye as I listen to Spirit's calling. Quieting my thoughts, I become even more still and simply be in the silence. In the words of the Buddhist loving kindness prayer, as we bless ourselves, we gradually expand our blessings to everyone and every being in the world. If we all said this prayer with sincerity at least once per week, the world could be a very different place. So I invite you to take these words in consciousness as your own. My heart fills with loving kindness. I love myself. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be peaceful. May I be free. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be peaceful. may all beings be free. Returning my focus to each breath, I bring inner peace with me into the world around me. I close this time of prayer and meditation with a deeper knowledge of God and my divine nature to be the light of the world. With gratitude, I take these words from Isaiah. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. I am thankful, I am restful, I am joyful as I return my mind to this present now moment, opening my eyes, looking around me, and perceiving a new thing. This is a new day. I've not seen this one before. And I go forward, ready to meet this day with new confidence and a new reality. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. Deep within me, all is well. All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. All is well now. All is well. Deep within me, all is well. Deep within me, all is well.
Welcome back, and thank you to Reverend Sandra for an inspiring message today and giving us permission and reminder to practice our spiritual power of imagination to create something new today.
Whether you have a joy or concern on your heart today, our prayer chaplains are standing by. They're available to provide personal prayer support during our virtual patio conversation after the service. You may also contact them by phone or email. Please complete a connection card on the Watch Live page or click Prayer Request at the link on the bottom of our homepage. Our prayer team will be praying with you throughout the week. You know, we didn't get a chance to hear from Sandra inviting us to the class she has prepared for us during our announcements, so I wanted to know if we could hear from Sandra now.
Many years ago, I had the honor of sitting at the feet of Maya Angelou when she spoke at Unity Temple on the Plaza. She said so many powerful things, And I remember a few of those. One of her famous quotes that has stayed in my mind and has meant so much to me is, when you learn, teach. When you get, give. When you know better, you do better. That's exactly what Courageous Conversations is about. As we learn and to listen to each other's stories and understand what it must be like to walk in their shoes. When we teach each other our own experiences through our stories, we empower ourselves and other people to do better. And we know in these challenging times here in our country and around the world, we can do better. And so I invite you to join us for another courageous conversation. Open your mind and your heart. Be willing to listen from your heart space, even if it's uncomfortable. Because as we say at Unity Temple on the Plaza, where our courageous conversation began, the only way to create real change is to be willing to be uncomfortable. And through that space of vulnerability, we empower not only ourselves, but each other to change things for the better, to create a world that works for all living beings.
Now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. Our spiritual home thrives with your continued generosity. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature.
We love receiving your checks through direct mail or a direct deposit from your bank. And there are 2 ways to give online. You can click on the donate button on the Watch Live page or download the Give app, where give is spelled G-Y-V-E.
I invite you to repeat our prosperity affirmation together. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
Come gather round, people, come out from your homes and admit that the disease around us has grown, and confess that this world may be ill to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better rise up or we'll sink like a stone. For the times they are a-changin'. Come writers and newsmen, don't terrorize with your pens, and tell a new tale of the phoenix of man. And don't judge too soon, for this wheel's still in spin. There's no telling how we'll be gaining, for what seems to lose now could turn out a win. For the times they are a-changin'. Come President, Congressman, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't lock up the hall. For he who is last will be he who is stalled. There's a battle outside and it's raging, and it's shaking our windows and rattling our walls. For the times they are a-changin'. Mothers and fathers throughout the land, and open your eyes, a new world is at hand. These forces of change are beyond our command. The old world is dying, it's aging. We can build us a new road, so come on, lend a hand. For the times they are a-changing. The die it is drawn, the way it is cast. It's time to slow down, we've been going too fast. The way we have lived was a way of the past. The old order's rapidly fading. We can build us a new way, the day has come at last. For the time they are a-changing.
A heartfelt thank you to all of our artists for sharing their music today, and Reverend Sandra for providing us with inspiration to embrace what's new for us today. What's the picture that we're painting for ourselves? Now, as we bless our offerings, we bless the giver and the gift that may go forth and multiply and increase the good in our lives and the lives that we touch.
We want to give thanks and blessings to the incredible heroism and service that our firefighters and activists have exerted on our behalf to keep us safe and restore our community. So let's bless our frontline workers, firefighters, and activists together. Frontline workers, firefighters, and activists, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. Unity of Walnut Creek has an amazing children's program. Let's check in with our children's program director, Michelle Chikala.
Hi Unity, it's Michelle here with Maddie and Millie, and who do you have there?
Pierre and Kate.
And Kate, yeah, and we're here to share with you what we did on Zoom with the other kids last week. We talked about, do you guys remember what we talked about?
We talked about mirrors.
Mirrors, that's right. We talked about the spiritual law of reflection. Do you remember what a spiritual law is, Millie? What's that mean?
It's a spiritual law that it's a law that can never be broken.
It can't be broken. That's right. It's just like gravity. Gravity is a scientific law, and it means whatever goes up must come down. Same with the law of reflection. And the law of reflection is that what we put out into the world is reflected back to us, right? So we played with mirrors last week at Sunday school. And so this mirror I have here, let's pretend that this is the world. So if I want to see happiness in the world, Millie, what would I show the mirror?
Happiness.
Happiness. It will be reflected back to me. And Maddie, if I want to see beauty in the world, what would I put in the mirror?
Something pretty.
Yeah, beauty would be reflected back to me. And let's see, what if I wanted to see something silly in the world? Yep, silliness would be reflected right back to me. Good job, girls. So we invite you to look at what you're putting out in the world that's being reflected back to you, and to just keep in mind the spiritual law of reflection. So let's say bye to everyone at Unity. Ready, girls? Bye, Unity. We love you, we miss you, and we bless you. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, thank you, Michelle, Maddie, and Millie. We bless you too. So let's bless our children and their teachers together. Children and teachers, We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you.
Please join me in saying our prayer of protection together. As we do, let's hold all of humanity in mind. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine.
Stick around until the end of service. We have community member selfies that you won't want to miss, but we need more. So please send your selfies or your silent waving videos to the office at unityofwalnutcreek.org. Now, let's sing our peace song together.
You are the light, the love, and the peace on earth right now.
So let your light shine, have
Spread joy.
fun, and spread joy.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that love is all around me. Let me know that love is all around. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall. Let me learn from all the ways I fall. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. That's right. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, that's over.